Hello everyone, and I hope you're having a great day. Today, we're going to dive into a tense and unexpected moment on a massive construction site, when Linda is suddenly robbed during an on-site inspection, and what seems like a simple incident quickly turns into a serious threat to a billion-dollar project. If you enjoy intense, realistic stories about leadership, pressure, and hidden dangers behind success, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss our upcoming videos. The sun hangs high over the construction site, harsh and unforgiving, pouring down on the massive steel framework of a project valued at $1.2 billion. The soundscape is familiar but relentless. Machines roaring, metal clanging, workers shouting measurements back and forth. Dust floats in the air, catching the light, settling on helmets, shoulders, and blueprints alike. Linda walks steadily across the site, a white safety helmet on her head, reflective vest snug against her frame. In her hands is a thick folder stuffed with documents, adjusted layouts, legal paperwork, progress reports, and on top, the latest revision of the foundation plan. Her phone rests inside her leather shoulder bag, along with her wallet and a portable hard drive containing backup files. It's a routine inspection, but one she insists on doing personally. She pauses near the edge of Zone C, where the ground transitions from reinforced concrete to temporary gravel paths. This section has been delayed twice already. Linda crouches slightly, studying the slope, comparing it to the diagram in her folder. Her brow furrows. This elevation is still off, she says, looking up at a site engineer standing nearby. Her voice is calm, controlled, but firm. If we pour like this, the drainage will fail during the rainy season. The engineer nods, wiping sweat from his forehead. We followed the last adjustment, Ms. Linda. I know, she replies, tapping the blueprint, but the soil composition here is different. We need another 10 centimeters, minimum. She stands, dusting her gloves together, and gestures toward the far end of the site. Let's walk it again. As they move, Linda keeps talking, asking questions, giving instructions, mentally calculating timelines and costs. This project isn't just big, it's sensitive. Any mistake, any leak of information could cause delays worth millions. They stop near a temporary access road that cuts behind the site. It's quieter here, shielded from the main work area by stacked materials and containers. A worker waves from a distance, calling out about a discrepancy in the steel delivery list. Linda turns slightly, shifting the folder under her arm. I'll check, she says, already stepping in that direction. That's when it happens. A sudden engine rev cuts through the air. Too close, too fast. Before Linda can fully register the sound, a sharp force yanks violently at her side. The strap of her bag digs into her shoulder for a split second before slipping free. Hey! Her voice breaks as she stumbles backward, boots scraping against loose gravel. The folder slips from her grasp, papers fluttering to the ground like startled birds. She barely manages to keep her balance, one hand reaching out instinctively. A motorbike tears past her, the rider's face hidden behind a helmet and mask. In one swift motion, the bag is gone. Dust explodes into the air. For a heartbeat, everything freezes. Then chaos rushes back in. "Coop! Coop!" someone shouts. Linda's heart slams against her ribs. She turns, eyes wide, watching the motorbike swerve toward the far exit of the site, tires kicking up dirt as it disappears beyond the fence. No, wait, she calls, her voice hoarse. A couple of workers drop what they're doing and run after the bike, but it's useless. The road outside the site opens into a maze of streets. The engine sound fades within seconds. Linda stands there, breathing hard, her hands trembling. The heat suddenly feels unbearable. Inside that bag, her phone, her identification, money. But worse than that, The documents, the revised plans, internal reports, sensitive legal files tied directly to the project. Someone rushes to her side. "Ms. Linda, are you hurt?" She shakes her head slowly, though her legs feel weak. "The bag," she says quietly. "They took my bag." The site engineer looks toward the exit, then back at her, panic flashing across his face. "Security, block the gates." Too late. Linda bends down, collecting the scattered papers with unsteady hands. Her mind races ahead, already calculating the damage. If those documents fall into the wrong hands, it's not just theft. It's a potential disaster. For the first time since stepping onto this site, Linda feels exposed, small against the sheer scale of what she's responsible for. The noise of the construction continues around her, indifferent, as if nothing has happened. But everything has. The site falls into a strange half-silence after the motorbike disappears. Machines are still running, but the rhythm is broken. Conversations trail off. More eyes begin to turn toward Linda. Quang pushes through the crowd from the main construction zone, his expression already tight before anyone says a word. He takes in the scattered documents on the ground, the dust still settling in the air, and then Linda's face, pale, controlled, but shaken. "What happened?" he asks, his voice low but sharp. Linda straightens instinctively as if bracing herself. "My bag was taken. Just now. A motorbike came from behind." Quang's jaw tightens. He turns immediately to the security team. "Close every exit. Check the cameras. Now." A guard nods and runs off. Others grab their radios, voices overlapping as they relay instructions. Quang looks back at Linda. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," she answers quickly. Too quickly. She bends to pick up the last few pages from the ground, aligning the corners with careful precision. But the bag had internal documents, revised foundation plans, legal files. The words hang between them, heavy. Quang exhales slowly. "Then this is serious." "It already was," Linda says, quieter now. They move toward a temporary office container near the edge of the site. Inside, the air is cooler, but the tension is thicker. Linda places the recovered papers on the table, scanning them one by one, as if hoping something critical is missing, and at the same time, fearing that it is. Her phone is gone, her ID, the hard drive. Quang watches her, saying nothing for a moment. He knows this look. It's the one she wears when she's trying to hold everything together by sheer force of will. "We should call the police," he says finally. "I will," Linda replies. "I'll go myself." Quang frowns. "I'll come with you." She shakes her head. "No, not yet." That makes him pause. "Linda, if word gets out too fast," she continues, still not looking at him, "it could spook the investors, the board. This project is already under enough scrutiny. Let me handle the report first, quietly." Her tone is calm, rational, professional, and yet, Quang feels a flicker of frustration. "This isn't just about the project. You were attacked." "I wasn't hurt," she says, finally meeting his eyes. "And I don't want panic on site. We'll lose control of the narrative." For a moment, neither of them speaks. The hum of the air conditioner fills the space between them. "All right," Quang says at last, though it's clear he's not fully convinced. "But I'm informing security headquarters and legal. Minimum level." Linda nods. "That's fair." An hour later, she leaves the site alone. The police station smells faintly of old paper and disinfectant. Linda sits across from an officer, recounting the incident in precise detail. Time, location, direction of escape. Her voice doesn't shake, but her fingers are laced together so tightly her knuckles have gone white. The officer takes notes, nodding. "Construction sites are targets lately," he says. "Valuables, documents, equipment. Do you remember anything specific about the rider? A dark helmet. No license plate that I could see, Linda replies. He knew exactly where to enter and exit. The officer looks up. That suggests planning. The word settles uncomfortably in her chest. Back at the site, Quang walks the perimeter himself. He reviews camera footage with the security team, rewinding and replaying the same blurry frames. The motorbike appears for less than 10 seconds. In and out. Efficient. Too efficient. By evening, the site empties. The noise fades. Lights switch off one by one. Linda returns after dark. She stands alone where it happened, the ground now calm, almost peaceful. It's hard to believe that just hours ago, everything unraveled right here. She closes her eyes briefly, replaying the moment, the pull, the loss of balance, the helplessness. For all her authority, all her control, it took seconds for something to be taken from her. Her phone buzzes in her hand. Quang's number, on a temporary device she borrowed. I'm at the site, she says when she answers. I know, he replies. Security told me, stay where you are. I just needed to see it again. There's a pause. You don't have to carry this alone. Linda exhales slowly. I know. I just need time. After the call ends, she doesn't move right away. The wind shifts, carrying the faint smell of concrete and metal. This project has been her battlefield for months. Numbers, negotiations, pressure. Today, it crossed into something else. As she turns to leave, an unfamiliar number flashes on the screen. She hesitates, then answers. Ms. Linda, a voice says. This is the police. We've identified a possible lead regarding the theft earlier today. Her breath catches. What kind of lead? We believe the rider may be connected to a recent series of incidents involving construction projects. There may be more at stake than a simple robbery. Linda's grip tightens around the phone. I see, she says quietly. When the call ends, she looks back at the darkened site one last time. This was no accident, and whatever had just started, it wasn't going to end easily.
Bất ngờ khiến cả nhóm kêu rồi cười xòa vì kịp đỡ nhau. Chiều xuống Linda buồn bã vì con rối của mình đã biến mất. Nghi có kẻ trộm rình quanh nhà. CEO Quang ghé đến lắng nghe và trấn an và tự sửa chiếc camera cũ trong kho, kéo dây lắc trước sân nhà để bảo vệ cô. Đêm đến, Linda nấu cơm nếp cẩm, mời anh ở lại ăn. Hai người trò chuyện lòng